Hey guys, Dr. Joe Rangel. We'll talk a little bit about behaviorism. So, behaviorism was really created by a guy by the name of B.F. Skinner. And it was built off the idea of operant conditioning, or excuse me, not operant conditioning, classical conditioning, which was given to us by Pavlov. And we all know Pavlov's dogs and that whole thing. It's in your text if you've never heard of it before, but I don't know how you made it to college without hearing about it all through high school. Anyway, so B.F. Skinner, he comes along and he's got this idea about human learning that behavior that you execute, anything you do, is due to reinforcement. And he comes up with three types of behavior reinforcements: positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, and punishment. And negative reinforcement and punishment get confused a lot. So we're going to clear that up real quick right here. The idea behind positive reinforcement is this: you do something, whatever it is, and you receive a positive result for it, something that you like, want, and or need. And your brain learns, hey, that worked, we should do that again. And so you do it again, and you get the thing again. And so your brain learns, gotcha. And so now that thing becomes a habit. That thing becomes a part of your lexicon of behavior that you do. All right? Simple. Two. We'll skip over negative and go straight to punishment. Punishment, we all kind of understand what punishment is. Punishment is when we do something and then something negative happens to us. And for punishment to be punishment, it actually has to be intentional that it happens to us. So, we're talking about the teacher giving us detention. We're talking about the criminal justice system putting us in jail. We're talking about our parents giving us a spanking or grounding us. That's what we're talking about when we talk about punishment, right? And the idea is a behavior has been executed and now something unpleasant has happened to us because of it. And so we are supposed to say, okay, I don't want to do that again, right? And then negative reinforcement, which gets confused with punishment a lot, negative reinforcement is actually the removal of something positive. So think of positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement, not in the quality of like good and bad, but think of them in the quality of adding and subtracting. Positive is adding, negative is taking away. So the easiest example I can give you of negative reinforcement is when you are training an animal, a dog, and you're training that dog with treats, which is not always a great idea, but that's a different story. And you tell him sit, and he sits. So you give him a treat, and that's positive reinforcement, right? He's learned, if I sit, I get a treat. I like that. You tell him to sit, he doesn't sit. There are schools of thought that say, okay, at this point, we are going to go into negative reinforcement and we are going to take away our attention. We're going to look away. We're not going to pay him any attention. We're not going to look at him. We're not going to talk to him. He's going to sniff around us. He's going to whine. He's going to bark. And we're going to totally ignore him because dog's currency is attention, right? So that's the removal of something. You might think that negative or punishment is more effective at controlling behavior. In actuality, what studies have shown is that behavior modification works best when we do a combination of positive, negative, and punishment. And we can see where punishment alone doesn't work, right? If we just look at the criminal justice system. Just look at how many people commit the same acts over and over and over again, no matter how many times they go to jail, right? Well, the punishment's not severe enough. Maybe, but there are behaviors out there that are so ingrained in us because we've gotten the positive reinforcement from it that we like, and that positive reinforcement is so ingrained in us that the negative, that the punishment can't override it. Okay, so usually it's like a combination. So I mean, that's pretty cool stuff, and it's been scientifically shown to be pretty valid that it works. Here's the thing: B.F. Skinner, just like every theorist of everything, everywhere, kind of took his ideas and he took them way out there, right? In his way of thinking, literally every behavior you can engage in is a result of reinforcement. Every behavior. And I don't just mean like whether or not you lock the door when you leave the house. I mean every behavior, like what you think, what you like, the type of person you're attracted to, when you choose to go to the bathroom, whether or not you scratch your nose, what time you go to bed at night. and things you may think, well, no, those are choices I make based upon the situation and right now. I mean, you know, I wanted to go to bed at an early hour, but I had some work to do, so I had to stay up late. That wasn't behaviorism. That was just a choice that I made. According to B.F. Skinner, that was not a choice. The fact that you chose to stay awake as opposed to going to bed, the fact that you chose to complete the work as opposed to getting the rest, is a reinforced decision from something that happened to you way, way back. So we'll talk later about nature versus nurture, but when it comes to nature versus nurture, B.F. Skinner is 100% nurture. Okay? Now you ask, well, okay, how does that work with you know, diseases like schizophrenia or heart disease, right? How do those things fit into nature versus nurture? The answer is they don't really well. So, behaviorism, cool idea. Can it be taken too far? Absolutely. All right, guys. I'm Dr. Joe Rangel. Thanks for paying attention.